Hey yo, welcome to Parker's Reefs. On today's episode, we're doing a tank tour of a 130,000 litre marine system. Alright, thank you for joining me on yet another episode of Parker's Reefs. And as touched on in the intro, I promise it was not a slip of the tongue. Today we are doing a tank tour on a 130,000 litre marine system. Imagine 7 and a bit meters tall, 4 and a bit meters in diameter, a massive cylindrical system at the Royal Children's Hospital here in Melbourne. Patrick from AAT is going to take us through all of this tank, including obviously the animals within there, the process regarding maintenance and cleaning and feeding, all of that, as well as, of course, that incredible filtration for such a huge, huge system. And we'll get to see things on a commercial level, which is super, super exciting. So I'm going to roll the footage in a second. A couple of things I want to point out. Firstly, massive thank you to Patrick, to AAT, and of course, Royal Children's Hospital for making it possible for us to go there and film. But secondly, I do want to say there's some parts of this video, particularly in the filtration areas, it gets a little bit noisy because we have massive pumps running. I've done my best to sort of cancel out some of that background noise, but bear with me if the audio is not perfect there. I've done my best to make sure we can hear all of that wealth of information that Patrick is sharing with us. But without any further ado, let's roll the footage and check out the Royal Children's Hospital in Melbourne, 130,000 litre marine system. All right, we are here at the Royal Melbourne Children's Hospital. I'm here with Patrick in front of what's going to be one of Australia's biggest reef tanks, and it's right here in the hospital. Firstly, Patrick, thank you so much for making it possible for me to be here. This is it's a treat. I mean, don't get me wrong, pretty much anyone can walk in and see this tank, but to be able to get the behind the scenes and a little bit of the extra information that we're going to get from you today on this tank is an absolute treat, and I really do appreciate it. So firstly, thank you.
Yeah, no worries. So my name is Patrick and I'm the manager for the Royal Children's Hospital Aquarium. I work for a company called Advanced Aquarium Technologies. We are Australia's, I would say, definitely the leading aquarium designers, all in one service. So we do planning, drafting, fabrication, and then operations. And in some very rare cases, we actually get to work in the aquariums that we build.
Yeah, nice. You get to play with them after delivery, even better. So tell me, what are we looking at here? This is a massive cylindrical system. What sort of size are we talking about here?
So the aquarium is 7.5 meters tall. So it covers two stories.
Yes.
And the actual whole aquarium operations covers 4 stories. So we've got level 1, the ground level, lower ground, and then the basement. Total system size is about 130,000 litres.
Wow.
The actual tank volume itself is 115,000 litres.
Incredible, incredible. That is a massive, massive system, and I have no doubt that creates all sorts of challenges that we don't often see in the home reef aquarium world, but there'll be some things that are similar, no doubt.
Yeah, they're funny enough, it's a lot of the practices that we do at home come across here, just probably about 1,000 times bigger.
A little bit bigger of scale, incredible. Yeah. Do you know roughly how long this system's been running for?
So this opened up in 2011 when the hospital opened up.
Yes.
So the Queen came and visited the aquarium.
Yes.
So
yeah. Very special, big time event.
Yeah, so that opened up. Then around 2017, the aquarium had to be shut down for concerns. There was a few issues with acrylic at the time around the world. So that got shut down.
This is a place of making people better, not making them worse off.
Yeah.
So I completely understand the concerns there.
So just for safety reasons, we shut down the aquarium there. And then the hospital came back to us and was like, no, we really want this back up and running. So we sent out engineers and we came up with a solution to actually have this operational again, where there was no concerns or anything like that.
Nice.
So that reopened up about 2019 again.
Okay, yeah. So it's been running again for quite some time now, a good 5,
6 years.
Yeah, excellent, yeah, fantastic. Now, this, to be honest with you, I don't even know where we go. This is a massive, massive system. It's got huge central bommy that goes from the bottom to the top. You've got some massive, massive fish in there. You've got some small fish in there as well. You've got a nice mixture. You've got some coral in there as well, yeah?
No, so just because of the nature
Yes.
of the size and everything like that, having coral and adding additives and keeping up a very high salinity level adds a lot more complexity to a system of this size.
Yes.
Especially when we're adding fish in about once every 6 months or so. We want to maintain a very low salinity just to help with any parasites or diseases and everything like that. So having coral in there doesn't quite work out.
Compromise for keeping the coral happy makes it a bit harder on the fish, and the fish are obviously the primary focus on this system.
Yeah, and then of course, like I said, we've got certain species in there. So if we added coral in there, they're not going to last very long.
No, that's fair. These big guys over your shoulder here,
The batfish, yeah.
the batfish and some of the other big monstrous guys in there probably not going to be super coral friendly.
No.
And people always talk about Australian stripies getting big and turning to coral. You've never seen stripies this big before. You're standing right in front of the acrylic there, and some of them going past are about the size of your head, which is, a pretty solid stripie.
Yeah, so probably the stripies are some of the oldest fish in this aquarium here.
Nice.
And you see just generally in an aquarium store, stripies about yay big. I'm like, well, I've got stripies about this big.
Monsters.
Yeah, but no, they're just like I said, a lot of different species of fish in here, and just a little bit of like an inside joke amongst all us professional aquarists out there. This is a place where fish come to get fat. We feed our fish extremely well here.
Yes.
My partner says to me that you feed the fish better than you feed yourself. So
Well, some of these fish are bigger than you are, so it doesn't surprise me.
but no, it's like I said, feeding fish here is trying to keep them happy and healthy.
Yes.
Is very important to us, and we generally have a really good relationship with the local fish mongers down at the Queen Victoria Market.
Yeah, I can imagine you're not feeding these guys frozen cubes from the local fish shop. You're probably going a little bit more industrial scale size.
Yeah, so we feed all food, human grade food.
Yes.
So once a week we'll go down to Queen Vic Market and get the fresh fish from all the boats. So we'll show that a bit later on, just
awesome.
some of the mixtures and that. But yeah, roughly we get about 10 kilos of fresh fish a week.
Crazy, crazy. Now, we did mention that we will get an opportunity to have a look at some of the infrastructure and the filtration around this tank, but can you tell us about some of the infrastructure inside the tank itself? Is there any sort of flow care or requirements that you need to get inside the tank?
So twice a week we'll get inside the aquarium and actually give it a scrub. As you can imagine, your flipper is not going to do much of a good job here.
What sort of thickness is this acrylic?
It's about 8 centimeters thick.
Oh, yeah, okay, that's thick.
Yeah. So twice a week we'll jump into the aquarium. We'll give it a scrub from top to toe. So mainly focusing on the acrylic,
Yes.
and then doing the coral structure as well. And then we'll actually give it a gravel vac as well inside.
Yes.
So inside the actual aquarium, so the center column there is actually the big giant. It's an overflow.
Yes. Okay.
For the aquarium. And inside that as well, we've got all the plumbing for the returns and the gravel vac system as well.
Okay. So you don't have to run a super long hose to try and gravel vac out. You've got something you can connect onto.
Yeah. So down the very bottom there, we've just got a port, plug it in, and then we use our electronic computer system to open valves and close valves.
Beautiful. Beautiful. As far as in-tank flow now, I know you've got obviously no corals in there, but you've got some big fish. Do you rely on the return system for flow in the tank?
Yeah, so we've got a couple of 7.5 kilowatt pumps down there, and they produce enough flow down the bottom.
I can imagine they do.
Yeah, so along the far side, so on the other side of the there, we've got return pipes there. So we've got they come out there through the top there. There's about 3 or 4 that will return the water flow at different variants. So the bottom one being a bit more stronger, and then as it goes up, you'll get a bit more return.
Makes complete sense. Can I ask about some of the fish that are in the system? I'm not going to ask you to go through every single one because I'm guessing you've got probably a couple hundred fish in there.
Yeah, so we've got roughly about 50 different species of fish in there.
Okay.
Some more notable ones, we have the Maori wrasse.
Yes.
Bluey, so she's one of the newer additions in there as well. The hospital had a naming competition and they came up with Bluey. So she's in there. She's roughly just under a metre long.
Wow, that's a decent fish.
So yeah, give it a few more months and she'll start transitioning into a male. So we'll start seeing some more of that vibrant blue and colours coming through.
Yeah, one of those fish that the males really get the colours popping on them.
Yeah, and get the lovely big giant nuchal hump as well. So it's great to see that transition come through.
Yes.
Then we've got 2 new batfish.
Yeah, the batfish have been very, very friendly, hovering around your shoulder there, showing their beauty and their size.
Yeah, so they're another new addition to the aquarium as well. We work with other aquariums around Australia, and these guys came from Melbourne Sea Life.
Yeah, cool.
So we generally do work with other aquariums. So if we get a larger fish and be like, oh, we can't house it here anymore, we'll try to move it on to a larger aquarium.
As I say, it's no different to the home aquarist.
Yeah.
You know, I've got a 4 foot, well, not me, but personally, but someone has a 4 foot tank. They've got a blue tank. He's getting a bit big. They'll rehome him to someone who's got a 7 or 8 foot tank, and things continue on. It's exactly the same on this scale, just bigger.
Yeah. So we've worked with a couple of local aquarium stores as well that have done tank shutdowns, and they've said we've got 3 or 4 massive fish and no one's going to be able to house them or give them a proper home. So we've taken them off their hands, and they absolutely love it in here. No more pallets.
I have no doubts they do. But I have derailed you telling us about some of the fish that are in the system. So you mentioned the big Maori wrasse bluey. You've got the 2 big batfish in there.
Yeah, as well as we've got 4 bamboo sharks in there.
Cool.
Brown-banded bamboo sharks. So the 4 girls are down the very bottom. Absolutely loving life in here. And then we've got a lovely honeycomb eel that can be a bit temperamental sometimes, but
as eels tend to be.
Yeah, but other than that, he's pretty placid if you feed him right.
Fair call. Incredible fish, and obviously, got a heap of stripies we can see in there. You've got a number of some of the other favourite fish that I've really noticed in here that look different. Like I see them in home aquariums, but they look different here. Are the unicorn tangs? And these guys and girls in here are legit unicorns. I've never seen those bumps on their head that long before.
Yeah, they are definitely a crowd favourite here. As we go around for our morning checks and afternoon checks and that, you always see kids going, oh, look at this one with the funny nose.
So that was just me.
There's
one right on cue now, a beautiful coloration, although we got a little shy of the camera there, but look at that. That is what I call a unicorn tang. That is unbelievable.
Yeah, and it's very interesting as well, like coming from a home aquarium environment, seeing fish in this size aquarium, you'll actually start noticing different behaviours, different colorations, and you kind of start understanding how they kind of react to that, so what this coloration means to something else. So I
can only imagine in that space, You'd probably see them a lot closer to the wild environment in here with this sort of size of volume and swim space.
Yeah, it's you get pretty up close. A lot of them are still quite shy to us being in there because we're making a lot of noise and bubbles and everything like that. But after a while, especially like the Maori wrasse, they become very quite tame and enjoy getting a bit of a tickle from the bubbles from the scuba divers that go in there.
Definitely known, particularly even in the wild, they're known for, in sort of tourist spots for being quite a puppy dog, really, and they develop quite a personality and interact with humans a lot.
Yeah, so I think I grew up in Cairns, so I was out in the reef a lot, and having one just swim up right beside your shoulder and pose for a photo was always fantastic.
I can imagine,
But yeah, as I said, she's pretty new, so she's still a little bit shy around us. So,
and not to mention that some of these fish, the big unicorn just swimming vertically, it's not something you get to see every day. Seeing a fish swim straight up 7 or 8 feet before turning direction is crazy to see. But there are a whole heap of other fish in here that are recognisable to the home aquarium world. Things like the big emperor angel down there, I can see obviously full adult coloration. Of course, they've just gone under the rock right now, but I'll be sure to show some B-roll on footage on screen. Big emperor angel in there. They actually look almost small in this system, despite the fact that it'd probably be the biggest emperor I've ever seen.
Yeah, so just the actual system size itself kind of dwarfs some of these animals. So, for instance, we also have a full adult 6-bar angel in there as well.
Yes.
Yeah, he's quite tiny in this system. What else is going on in here? So
things like the big orange shoulder there. That's a massive, mature-sized orange shoulder, and he almost looks like a chromis. He's so small compared to some of the fish in there.
Yeah.
In fact, even the stripies are almost dwarfing him. It's hard to believe.
So we've got a couple of sail fins in here as well,
Yes.
and they're pretty much at full size.
Definitely, that's a good. 1.5 to 2 foot in size. It's a monstrous size fish.
Yes, and then we've got tons of fusiliers and just a lot of different species of chromises in here. So we've got the green ones that are floating up the top there.
Okay,
well, not floating, swimming, I should say.
Thankfully swimming.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to actually see. You do get to see a little bit of the schooling behaviour in a tank this size, where they do actually sort of hang out in a group together. That's section that they're in is about the size of most people's aquarium, where they don't look like they're schooling together, but in a system this big you can actually see them grouping together. And then the fusiliers, which are without being unkind to them, they're effectively a big chromis. They're doing the same sort of thing, and you can see them all through here, the blue bodies with the yellow tails there. Is this a damsel up there, the black and white?
So we've got a couple of humbugs in there.
Humbugs, yeah. I hesitated when I said damsel because I'm like, it's massive.
So we've got some humbugs. They're another new addition. We've got some spiny chromises as well. Right. So they're the bigger ones. The black body was the white tail.
Oh, with the white tail, yeah.
And funny enough, we've actually had them breed in this aquarium.
I can imagine, yeah.
And they've actually produced fry, and
really?
They've actually survived.
Wow, I would not have expected that. I would have thought they would have been eaten up very quickly.
Yes, it's testimonial to like the quality of feed that we're giving these animals if they're not picking off. But as we go around, you'll see probably a good 200 of them.
Wow, incredible. Incredible.
Yeah, definitely a whole sort of different butterflies in here.
I was going to say the butterflies are a really nice addition, and like when you're talking fish-only systems, butterflies are they're as cool as it gets. They've got beautiful shape, great colours, great markings, and they're quite active in this system. They're really moving around. Yeah,
so they're butterflies tend to have a little bit more interaction with people as well.
Yeah.
So for a good while that we'd come down and do our inspections again. We'd just have the dusky butterfly just hanging around us all the time.
Yeah, nice.
Other than that, there's a lot of different fish in here, so it's just
somewhat overwhelming.
Yeah, it can be. Especially when it comes to when we do our fish stock take of what's in the system.
Oh, what a task that would be. I know in my own personal aquarium, sometimes I look at a tank and go, where's that fish? I haven't seen him for a day. Times that by 1,000 here.
Yeah, so there is a lot of challenges with this as well. Like the coral structure is not solid.
Yes, okay.
So you will have fish swimming in and out of that as well.
Yes.
So it's always hard to know what's actually there.
Can imagine.
And of course, just actually physically trying to count the number of fish.
Particularly when they're swimming around the cylinder and you've got multiple levels of view points, be quite the challenge, no doubt. But an incredible array of fish. Perhaps we could have a look at some of that filtration and maybe some of the feeding. Yeah, sure.
Well, we'll go on upstairs. We'll start off there, and we'll show you some of the food that we feed the animals, and then we'll go all the way down to the basement and we'll have a look at more stuff.
Brilliant, appreciate it. Go for it.
So this is level 1 of the aquarium. So this is our main work area.
Yep.
As you can tell, it's a little bit loud in here. We try to avoid spending a lot of time in here, but
Understandable.
this is pretty much where we do all our work from. So yeah, this is basically the big giant moon well here. So this is the top access and main access to the whole aquarium. So we've got our access ladder down into the aquarium where we'll...
So that ladder you can obviously fold out and it goes further down?
Yeah,
Yep.
so we'll go about 40 centimeters into the water there, just so it's a little bit of a softer landing for the divers.
You mean you don't make them just jump?
No, I have been tempted a couple of times standing up here to do a bit of an entry from the top here.
Sure.
But just because all the coral is quite fragile in there,
You definitely don't want to be doing that.
No, don't want to be knocking it too much. But this is where we'll grab our fish, put them into the aquarium as well, do all our feeding from here as well. So yeah, just over here on this side, we've got our isolation tank and quarantine tank.
Yes.
So currently right now it's running through the main system here.
Okay.
So if we get new fish in, generally we have in place quarantine systems. We'll go put them in here just to get them fed up, make sure that they're actually eating right and, you know, generally in good health with the fish before we put them into the main tank.
Yeah. So this runs off the same water supply, so it really is an isolation box.
Yeah.
Where you can just make sure that they're used to the water parameters, that they're getting some food, you've got a good opportunity to have a good visibility of the fish and interact if you need to before you let it loose in that big system over there, and you never get a chance to catch it again.
Yeah, so it's more fish come out of this than actually go into it.
Yes.
Just a matter of just keeping stress levels lower for the fish and that. If you imagine as well, it's not a really good look if you're chasing around a fish in the aquarium with a net.
Can't imagine.
Yeah. But yeah, during when we get our new fish in, there'll be just styrofoam boxes all throughout here. It's a bit of a sight to see.
Can imagine.
A good average about 15 styrofoam boxes, all getting drip acclimated.
And you would put all of those fish into this system for roughly what sort of time frame, or it depends on the fish?
So it depends on the fish as well. So generally a lot of our suppliers do a in-house quarantine.
Yeah.
We tend to just do a bit of a Prasi bath before they actually get transferred across, and then it will depend on the species as well. If it's a species that we know can be a little bit tricky to keep fed and looked after, they'll spend a couple of weeks in here just to make sure.
Yeah, makes sense. And I mean, this looks small compared to the aquarium they're going into, but this is probably a 1,000-litre tub. 900
litres.
I was pretty close on the guess.
Yeah.
So looking at it, I'm like, oh, look, it's not a lot of room here, but this is the equivalent of like a 6-foot, 7-foot tank almost. There's a lot of room in there. They're not going to stress in there. They're going to be able to get some food, get calmed down, make sure all those treatments are working before they get released into the big bad ocean.
Yeah, and then we can actually close off this system as well, and then make it a complete quarantine tank as well.
Sure. Yep. So if you need to run some sort of treatment that you just want to do here, you can do.
Yeah, it's again, it's a very strong balancing act as well, because we've got the sharks in there and they don't really like certain treatments, so we have to be very careful how we balance that out.
Another one of those challenges that you don't normally see in a home aquarium. Not many people have sharks in their tank, and you're right, the sensitivities they have to the majority of medications, to be honest, would make that quite a challenge.
Yeah, well, we're very lucky here as well. We have professional veterinarian services on hand.
Amazing.
They come out every so often as well to do checks and give us advice on how to look after the animals as well. Give us full reports and their recommendations as well. So we're very fortunate to have a couple of aquarium vets based in Melbourne and that are willing to give us their time as well.
As you say, super unique and very fortunate, geographically nearby.
Yeah.
Makes life a lot easier because
sometimes sending pictures of a problem just doesn't work. You need someone there to see it, do a scrape, do whatever they need to do.
Yeah, and generally I'm a warrior when it comes to certain fish health, so it's always nice to have someone just be like, no, you're fine, it's just one of those things. So it's always
the voice of reason.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, probably managing an aquarium this size, you know, your biggest fear is you wake up one morning and it's half drained.
You can only imagine. What I did want to ask while we're up here from this top-down view, the lights that are on this system, you've got some sort of flood lighting happening?
Yeah, so they're Orifex Amazon's 960s, I believe.
Okay, yep.
So Orifex, they're one of the very few companies out there that actually do commercial grade aquarium lighting.
Yes.
So these are one of the most powerful lights that you can get, and as you can imagine, with a 7-meter tall aquarium, getting the light all the way penetrated down to that kind of depth is a challenge.
Takes a fair bit. I've got to say, from this view, obviously we're not looking through 8 centimeters of curved acrylic. The water is pristine. It is crystal clear, and you can see right to the base. It's a testament of the work you guys do. It's looking a treat.
Yeah, so it all comes down to our design teams and our technicians when it comes to designing aquariums with AAT. We implemented strategies and techniques to make sure that our clients and our staff work with some of the best equipment out there and deliver these results.
The results speak for themselves when you can really see that volume of water, that clear, looking a treat. It's quite a spectacle.
Yeah, so when we go downstairs to the basement, you'll see some of the techniques that we do use. And yeah, again, it's some of the benefits and some of the challenges with working with a system this size. We have to use certain procedures and that to make sure that the water is nice and clean.
Yes.
And then you've got some of the challenges with that, with introducing some of those techniques.
I bet.
Like I said, again, this is our work area, so we do a lot of food prep here as well.
Yep. Hence the fridges and freezers over there.
Yeah. And our stainless steel workbench there. So like I said, every Thursday we'll go down to Queen Vic Market, buy a bunch of food, and we'll prepare it basically as a meal prep throughout the week, and then we'll feed that out as well. So again, a challenge with some of the feeding fresh fish is that they will carry pathogens, diseases, parasites and that, so that we take extra precautions with that as well by freezing the fish. And then again, another challenge is by freezing, you take away some of that nutrients.
It's a balancing act. Yeah.
It's a balancing act, and we're using tried and true methods that have been pioneered in this industry for the last 30, 40 years.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
You don't want to be trying something new or different on a system this big and this important. The last thing you want to do is go, let's just shake things up a little bit.
Yeah. Again, like I said, we always consult with other aquariums and that. So if we have an issue with an animal, we'll go to some of the leading experts in those fields and talk with them and get their recommendations on what they think.
Amazing.
Yeah. So we'll jump over on this side.
Sure.
So, as I said, we do weekly food prep. We'll fill up these drawers with food. So on about average, we're preparing about 10 kilos of food a week for these animals. 10
kilos?
10 kilos. It's give or take depending on it. It's not necessarily 10 kilos of meat. Sometimes it'll be we're feeding pippies and that to give a little bit more enrichment to the animals. The shells we have to collect and take out, so they add a bit more weight to it all. But in general, what we do is we prepare basically little blocks like this.
Wow.
Just a whole assortment of different fishes. Generally our go-tos are like prawns, squid, sardines, mackerel. And then we prepare them in a block like this, and if need be we'll give them a soak in vitamins. So
Yes.
some of the stuff you'll find at home, such as like fish feed from Aquaforest, Enhance from Sea Chem.
And that's just to replenish some of that nutrition loss from freezing?
Yeah, so it's just, again, one of those balancing acts that we have to perform here to make sure the fish stay happy and healthy.
I can't help but notice the zip tie in there.
Yeah.
Tell me that's got something to do with the way you feed it.
Yeah, so what we do is what we call a drop line feeding. As you can imagine, trying to throw food into a system where the water is all flowing up to the top there,
Yes.
you've got to get a lot of waste. So what we do is we actually tie it off to one of our hooks that's weighted, and we drop that down. And again, you'll see that a bit later on when we drop down the food, and you see the feast happening.
Awesome. Love it.
Yeah. So we do that for our general feed, and then what we do when we dive is that we'll do a hand feeding of different feeds as well for our sharks and the eel.
Yeah.
Again, just the whole same assortment of different fish, giving them variety. Just kind of like us, they don't really like to eat the same thing
For sure.
a couple of weeks in a row. And again, with like the shark feeding and that, we give them vitamins just to help out with some of the processes that we use in
Makes
the
sense.
aquarium. Very last thing that we also feed out here as well is an assortment of green veggies for all our tangs, and pretty much everyone else kind of eats it. So probably what's really famous in this aquarium is the big giant block of broccoli that we put in the aquarium for them to graze on. The number of times I get asked why we feed broccoli, it's actually a really good source of a nutrition for them, and it doesn't break apart in the aquarium. As you can imagine, if we put your typical nori roll in there, it's not going to last too long, and it's just going to get shredded and bits and pieces go everywhere. So broccoli tends to last a couple of days in the aquarium, so it's really good to see. Very good, like I said, good source of antioxidants and good roughage for the fish.
Definitely.
So we feed that out to them.
I've fed broccoli to my aquarium before, but I feed like that much.
Yeah, we generally put it in a block. Some days it will last a little bit longer, and some days it's gone overnight. And then, of course, just an assortment of different leafy greens, such as rocket,
Yeah, wow.
baby spinach, and iceberg lettuce and kale.
Perfect.
So, yeah,
So it really is greens that you and I eat at home that
Yeah.
you're feeding the fish.
pretty much whatever we eat at home, these guys are going to get.
Amazing.
Yeah. It's just all part of keeping that nutrition going for them, and kind of not having that nutrient degrading through processed foods.
And also just easily accessible as well. You don't have to.
No.
You're not getting that from any sort of fancy supplier. That you'd be getting that from the market as well. I'm
Yeah,
imagining.
so going down to the market, like I said, every Thursday, it's always great, especially during winter. We get the hot jam donuts.
Oh, there's the real reason.
Yeah. And then we've just got a really good relationship with the guys that we buy from.
Yep.
So they'll let us know if there's short supply of something, and we'll change it up from there. But yeah, it's amazing what you can get from Vic Market for feeding.
My eyes have been opened.
Yeah, and it's actually really great to see. As you can see, there's no skinny fish in our aquarium.
Yeah.
So just having that protein-rich feed for them is just excellent.
Second to none.
Yeah, and I mean, we do feed some pellets in the aquarium. You would have seen the
I
auto
must
feed.
admit, I did notice just hanging over the handrails there a couple of auto feeders that look very, very similar to the ones that we find at home.
Yeah, so funny enough, there's not many commercial grade auto feeders out there. So we do supplement with some pellets, just mainly for our species that are swimming around the top,
Yes.
or some of our smaller species that aren't quite as game or tempted to challenge the other fish when it comes to feeding.
Yeah, I can imagine when we get a chance to see one of those big blocks getting fed that it'd be pretty hectic time. And if you've got some smaller, more timid fish, that could be pretty intimidating.
Yeah, and it's they might end up being the snack themselves. So yeah, we feed just your typical pellets from home. So again, being recommended a few different varieties. So we again swap it up.
Yep. They just got a little bit further to drop to hit the aquarium than most of us have at home.
Yes, so it gives us a good spread as well.
I bet, yeah.
So yeah, you don't have to worry about them all sitting in one corner or going into the overflow.
They have a bit of velocity up by the time they hit the water.
Yeah. And it's always great as well to get that bit more waterlogged quicker and then do it spread out a bit better.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
All right, so we're now in basement 1 of the hospital, and standing, well, right above me is the aquarium. Just for transporting the water, as you can see, it comes down through here and then sends off this way along the pipes here.
Amazing. So have you got a rough estimation on how many kilograms of weight that aquarium would be at?
No, I do not. It's not something that I've ever thought of and kind of don't really want to think of.
Probably don't want to calculate it where you're standing right there.
Yeah.
It's all directly above your head, but I mean, it's been here for many years. It's obviously safe, but it's pretty amazing to see that we're in the car park here and that, yeah, some of the water drains down here and then goes through to the filtration room. Just like you say, not all that different to the home aquarium, just a lot bigger.
Lot bigger, and yeah, definitely some thicker pipes.
Yeah, that'd be a good Schedule 80 pipe with a good size diameter too. They're looking like a good 4-inch diameter pipe, which is going to flow pretty nicely.
Yeah, so we've got all different lines here. So we've got our returns,
yes.
Our overflow, and our gravel vac line as well.
Yeah, beautiful.
So the water does have to travel quite far. So when I said 7.5 kilowatt pumps, multiple,
why.
Yeah, there is a very good reason for that.
Nice.
All right, so we're now in the heart of the aquarium, as you can say. So this is, like I said, just a few meters away from underneath the aquarium. And this is basically our filtration room and all sorts of rooms. So we prepare our salt water here, we do our filter cleaning from here, and do all our maintenance down here as well. That could be too loud for upstairs.
And tell us about some of the filtration. I can see some monster-sized skimmers over here.
Yeah, so again, everything you see here is built in-house by the AA team. So the main system runs off 6 foam fabrication units that come from the brake tank. So we've got 4 5.5 kilowatt pumps feeding this system. So 2 will be doing the Venturi system, so drawing in the air to get the fabrication working, and then 2 just for the flow. So we got bank 1 and bank 2 with automatic washing systems as well that come from the mains.
So yeah, we've got 3 massive skimmers here, and that's only one bank.
Yeah,
so got another 3 over there.
Another 3 over there. So this is primarily our main filtration for the system.
Yep.
This is also where we inject ozone into the system. So, like I said, one of the challenges when you've got sharks and big system, we need to find ways of clearing that water up quite well. And when you see the actual ozone system in place, it is quite monstrous.
That's how you get that crystal clear water in despite 130,000 litres of tank volume.
Yeah, so you'll probably see how effective it is. We will dirty up that aquarium to the site where it's almost like chocolate milk. And by an hour or 2 into it, it'll be crystal clear again.
Amazing, amazing.
But yeah, so big part of our filtration system here. So again, kind of like just your home aquarium, this is your skimmer. We just do it 1,000 times bigger.
It's just a lot bigger, and there's 6 of them.
6 of them.
Tell me about this aquarium here. This doesn't look like it's part of the display upstairs.
No, so this is my first aquarium. So this is where it basically all started from. So when I was living in an apartment down here, it flooded, not by this.
Yes.
I woke up one morning to come here and there was just water all over the floor. And yeah, I needed a place to relocate it, so why not bring it to work?
Bring it in here, why not?
So for time being, this has been a bit of a teaching aquarium for new staff coming on board. Just teach them some of the basic fundamentals on a smaller scale.
Yep.
So it's been really great to have that here, and it's kind of a bit of a morale booster as well, because we have our own tank and we get to play around with it. It probably doesn't get the attention that it fully deserves,
No,
but
well, that's the challenge of the tank at work, isn't it?
but we have fun with it, and we get to put some of the smaller rescues that we get in there and throw them out. For instance, our blue tang in there.
Yep.
We got her probably about the size of a 50-cent coin, and growing around in there, and eventually she'll make her way up the scale. But we'll continue on.
Sure.
So this is the other side of the skimmers. So like I said, 6 of them here. They do a really, really good job.
Big skimmers.
They pull out a lot.
I bet. They'd be a joy to clean, I'm sure.
Yeah. As you would have probably seen a couple of photos of my hand yesterday.
Yes.
They do have an automatic wash system to them, but every now and then you've got to get in there and give them a bit of a scrub.
Got to give it the elbow grease.
Yeah. From there it goes into our bio tank.
Yep.
So all our beneficial bacteria, kind of just like at home again.
Yep.
Except each one of those tubes is probably the size of a toddler.
Wow.
And occasionally you might find some fish that have made their way down in there. So we try to catch them out where we can, but ultimately sometimes they're just happier down here.
Yeah, I can imagine. Just like a fish in the sun.
Yeah.
Big overflow pipes to them, massive.
Yeah.
Massive.
So we do move a lot of water. So from the bio tank we go into our sand filters. Now each one of these is about 1.5 cubic square meters of footing.
Wow.
About roughly 700 litres of water a minute is pumping through these.
Wow.
So they clean a lot. they take a lot in.
Okay.
Yeah. So probably one of the biggest questions is with a system this size is how do we do a water change?
Yeah.
So what we do primarily is actually recycle our water.
Okay.
So if you could imagine trying to do a 10% water change on a system this big, we'd be going through a lot of bags of salt. So kind of like you pull at home, we do a backwash on our filters to clear them out, and it goes into its own separate system here, where it's got its own foam fabrication unit and its own injection of ozone.
Right.
So it's getting the same amount of ozone as we pump into the system here, so that way it clears up pretty much instantaneously.
Yep.
So talking about the chocolate milk, when we do a backwash, that is, you can't even see the other side. But if you kind of look in there, I'll grab a torch. We did one yesterday, and it's crystal,
you can see through, beautiful.
Crystal clear.
Yeah.
So that water by tomorrow will be right to put back into the aquarium,
Wow.
and we do the whole system again.
So you just pull that water out so you can do a isolated filtration on it, get it back to being exactly the way you want. Do you test that or anything before putting back in? Or
So we occasionally test it just to make sure our systems are working.
Yep.
But because it's running off basically the same system as the main aquarium, if that system goes over to a certain millivoltage of ORP,
Yep.
it'll shut off all the ozone for the time being. But as ozone has a very short shelf life, and this has a lot of aeration to it, there's not much concern in terms of excess bromines or any harmful chemicals with it. But we generally do a test just to check our systems, and yeah, it's pretty much as good as home aquariums, or even it's even cleaner than the aquarium upstairs.
Yeah, I bet. Incredible.
On the rare occasion that we do have to add some fresh water, we have an identical tank here, which is our mixing tank. So this is about 9,000 litres that we mix up at a time.
Okay.
And again, we just use the same salt as everyone at home, so red sea salt.
Yeah, right. Amazing. And how do you even go about mixing that? I'm guessing you come up with a ladder here and you tip it in somewhere, or?
Yeah, so we got buckets here, just for OH&S reasons.
Yes.
Lifting a 25 kilo bag is probably not the smartest thing when...
Not unless you're a chiropractor.
Yeah, not the smartest thing. So we empty out the bags, put them up there, and as it goes through its own little pump system, it mixes itself up.
Yep.
We fill it up from the top there with just filtered mains water.
Yep.
So as the hospital has its own filtration system for the
course.
water.
Yep.
And what we do is just give it an extra polish.
Yep.
Through one of our bag filters here.
Yep.
So there's filter socks, and then we've got filter socks here.
Yep.
So go through one of these, we chuck a bit of carbon in there just to make sure there's
a polish, yeah.
a bit more of a polish. We pour straight into there.
Yep.
Where it aerates some more, we'll give it about 24 hours. This room is at a constant 24 degrees.
Yes.
So
it's ready to mix.
Pretty much it's ready to mix after a day.
Yep.
Everything heats up.
I bet. Incredible. I couldn't help but notice the big UV system here as well.
Yes. So again, another AAT design.
Yep.
A 5 bulb UV system.
Yeah.
So again, just clears up that water, takes care of any pathogens or parasites that are in the water. It does a really, really good job.
Very, very nice. Big industrial unit. You see the 5 big bulbs. Do you know what sort of wattage this unit is?
No, not off the top of my head, but it has its own system to it where we can basically make sure that it's running properly, give us our running times, the temperature, so it doesn't overheat. As it's a metal one, we have to be very, very careful of how it flows. If the water shuts off for any reason, it will automatically shut off as well. We don't want any exploding UVs around.
No, I can imagine. Looking at the size of the unit, these bulbs look to be a good 400 watt each, and you've got 5 of them, so it's probably a 2 kilowatt UV, something like that at a guess. A lot of UV anyway.
It's a lot of UV. Changing the bulbs comes a bit of a challenge as well. We've got to kind of clear out the whole area to pull them out.
I can imagine, you've got to try and pull them out through here.
And after, if anyone's had experience with UV bulbs, just pulling them out and trying not to break them in the system, it's fun.
It's a challenge.
It's a challenge. But yeah, that's pretty much the UV here. It's, again, AAT design, and if we have any issues with any of our systems, it's just great to not chase people up, and we just call up head office and go, like, hey, if something's wrong, send someone down, please. This is our cooling and heating system.
Yeah, right.
So if anyone's been in a pub before, it's exactly the same system as you get how you cool your beer.
Cool.
So it's a glycol system. So glycol passes through the system, does the heat exchange through here, and then returns back to the aquarium, and it's really, really effective. It will drop the aquarium a degree about every 5 minutes.
Amazing. So, for those who don't know, glycol's it's a liquid, is it?
It's a liquid chemical that just has a really good heat transfer properties to it. I should know more. I was a bartender for about 10 years.
No, it's all good. That's all we really need to know. And obviously, it doesn't actually touch the water. It touches the heat exchanger,
Yeah.
and the water touches the other side of the heat exchanger, and that's how you can heat it up or cool it down.
Yeah, and just due to the sheer size of our pumps and
Yes.
the heat that they produce,
Yes.
we only run cooling.
Yeah.
So even during winter, we don't even touch
Just
the
cool it,
heater.
Yep. I can imagine. It's a lot. Even just the friction from the water movement through those pipes and pumps would create a lot of heat. But yes.
Yeah.
And yeah, imagine if you relied on your traditional condenser style chiller on a system that big on a hot day. It would take months, if not years, to cool it down.
Yeah, so when we've had 40-degree days, because there's a lot of air movement through here,
Yes.
and it all comes from the roof of the hospital through there.
Yep.
Like, it'll get probably about 50 degrees down here, and the aquarium 24.
Amazing. I imagine I can imagine there's quite an expense to setting up a glycol system, but running cost-wise, I imagine it's probably fairly efficient.
It's probably the most efficient heat
Yeah.
exchange out there,
Yeah.
and even just heating-wise, it's
Yeah.
because the heating system will run through the actual hospital's heating system.
Sure.
So it's all just part and parcel of the system that they run here.
Yep. Because otherwise, I can imagine the heating and cooling bill of a tank that big would be astronomical.
Yeah, so look, if you're looking at building your own in-bar in your house and you want an effective cooling system, hook it up to the beer system.
There you go. Amazing.
Yeah, and then we do have another chiller here. Now this is a bit overkill for the system that we have,
Okay.
but when we need replacements, we'll grab pretty much whatever's closest available.
Yep.
And this was a replacement for the original cooling system for the ozone generator that we have here. So it's very much overkill.
Yep.
It drops probably from room temperature to 4 degrees in about 30 seconds.
Yep, that's what you call a chiller.
Yeah. So, yeah. So that's part and parcel of our ozone generator here. So this is probably the main reason why we have the clearest water for the aquarium, and it's our ozone generator.
Nice.
So this is basically what you would run on a sewage treatment plant.
Well, I mean, you've basically got a sewerage plant up there. You've got that many fish that have produced quite a bit of waste.
Yeah, so we this one produces about 15 grams an hour of ozone.
Yep.
We probably run it at 0.5% of its actual capabilities.
Yes.
We really do not want to be flooding the aquarium with ozone too much, but
Yes.
yeah.
For those who don't know, ozone's incredible at breaking down organics, but it can be dangerous if it gets out of hand. Yeah.
Yeah. So it is an unstable chemical.
Yes.
But it is basically similar to bleach in the aquarium.
Yep.
Having too much will cause all sorts of issues, and luckily for us, we have not faced that. But
Hence why you run it nice and low.
nice and low with lots and lots of clearance room for any unknown circumstances. But yeah, it breaks down all the organics in the aquarium, produces a better skim.
Yes.
In the foam fractionation units, but by the time it comes out of the foam fractionation units, it's pretty much non-existent in the aquarium.
Yep.
Which is great. So again, part of our weekly testing regimes, we check for the bromine levels, and they're always pretty much next to nothing.
Yeah, brilliant.
So yeah, it's all just part and parcel of the whole system here. So it's really great. And because we have everything pretty much integrated and talking to each other,
yes,
we don't really have to be hands-on with the system. It will shut off at a certain point, come back on at a certain point, and yeah, we don't have to worry about it.
Incredible.
Yeah. And this is probably the most important thing of the aquarium. This is the actual brain.
This is the brain. This is the one where you do not press buttons.
try not to press buttons, but
That's why I'm standing here and you're standing there.
so this is the brains of the aquarium. Behind here is fuses,
Yep.
switches, computer components that are well above my pay grade.
I imagine it's probably a PLC style.
PLC
Yep.
is, and yeah, this basically talks to the aquarium, gives us a loadout of what is happening in the aquarium,
Yeah.
what systems are running. We can turn off pumps for repairs, maintenance, turn them back on,
Yep.
divert water if need
Amazing. Yep.
be. So it all runs from here. Upstairs, we have a mirror version on our computers,
Yes.
so we can be in either or location.
Yep.
If something does go out of hand, we need to do emergency shutdown. That's all through this.
You don't have to run downstairs into the basement through multiple security check doors. You can just press it from the computer.
Yeah,
Yep.
and it's fantastic. So, yeah, part of the parcel to just keep this operational as well. Part of the hospital's emergency procedures.
Yep.
Every 6 months, we've got to do a generator test.
Sure.
So at 2 a.m. in the morning, they'll shut off the power. We've
Yep.
got to be here on site when that happens as well. So yeah, it's part of the joys of having an aquarium in the hospital
Yes.
when it runs
And I
off.
can imagine, frustratingly, if everything goes the way it should, which I'm sure it does 99.99% of the time, it's a pretty boring bit of time at the hospital because the power will go off, generator kicks in, system keeps running, power comes back on, it all switches back to normal.
So what generally will happen is that the system will shut itself off.
Yep.
And then if that's the case and we're off-site, we'll have to come in. We get alerts through SMS.
Yep.
So we'd have to come in and then reboot it back up. So the reason why we why we're here during a generator test is we actually shut down the system to put less stress on it.
Sure.
So if you can imagine if something's constantly every 6 months over the lifespan of this aquarium, shutting off every 6 months quite abruptly,
Yes. Yep.
it will cause fatigue to the electrical components and the actual system itself.
For sure.
We shut it down safely and then we reboot it back on, make sure it does run on
Gotcha.
the generator power.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So
Incredible.
yeah.
I love the way it's even got like visualizations on screen there of the system and the operation. And I won't ask you to go through all you got anyway, but I was going to say, don't press any buttons on my accord. But
Yeah.
it's a very nicely laid out system so that you can very visually see what you're working with.
Yeah, and it's great too. If we have a problem with this as well, we'll contact our IT department and they'll actually log into the system.
Yeah, crazy.
So they be on the other side of the world, they'll log in and fix any issues that we
Yeah.
have with it. So if we need to reroute a different sensor, so kind of like your home aquarium, we've got our temperature sensors, we've got our ORP sensors, water level sensors, everything like that.
Yes.
If we need to reroute one of those, if there was, say, a salt buildup and it caused corrosion, we need
Yep.
to reroute it to a different one. They can do it in their
Amazing.
pajamas at home.
Living the dream.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Alright, so part of the cleaning procedure for the aquarium is we have to get into it. As like I said, it being 7 meters deep, it's a bit hard to reach the bottom just with a pole or a flipper. So yeah, we get in there and clean it. Now, because we're in Victoria, there are certain laws around diving in a commercial sense. So we have to abide by certain standards and everything like that. So yeah, we try to keep everything as over the top in terms of diver safety.
Safety first, absolutely.
We part of the parcel of working here as well. We do 6 monthly drills on recoveries and everything like that. So it gets pretty full on the days where we have doctors, nurses, security all up in this one room here doing drills just to make sure that we're all prepared in case of something ever actually happening.
Yes.
Luckily enough, we've been pretty good.
So far, so good. And
Yeah.
I believe today one of the teams is going to be heading in to demonstrate some of the cleaning and feeding.
Yeah, so we've got Alicia jumping into the aquarium. She'll be jumping into the aquarium and doing a bit of a dive, giving it a bit of a touch-up. We're pretty good with our cleaning, so we generally don't have to go for a full hog scrub unless unless we've been away or someone's been sick for a week.
Yes.
But go down there, feed the sharks, feed the eel, and then we'll get to the cleaning, and then that's pretty much it for it there.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Alright, here goes Alicia, who is fully kitted out in her dive setup here. You can see the oxygen tank on the back there, full wetsuit, mask, everything that's required, and that ladder has been lowered down into position. Now, once she gets in there, you'll notice that Patrick stays in position. They also have this really cool wireless communication system which transmits through the water, which is really, really cool to see. Just in case they need to communicate with each other, they've got a spotter there while someone's always in the tank, and you can see Alicia's putting on the fins and things that she needs to get access to down there. She'll also grab that net, and in a second we'll go down to the ground floor, and we'll see that she'll go through and pick up things like the shells from the food they've fed previously, or also maybe even pick up a few shark eggs that all of those female sharks keep laying. You see the net there that Alicia's got, she's picking up all those shells. This is literally the equivalent of us picking up detritus from the tank, which is pretty cool to see. And next thing you'll see, she'll grab it's almost like a car wash mitt, and she'll go around and just give all of that acrylic a nice little polish to make sure that it stays nice and clean. And Patrick and Alicia tell me that one of the keys to this is that they do it frequently, so they can get away with just a nice little hand clean with that car wash mitt, as opposed to having to get out some sort of like polisher or something like that to try and remove any sort of build up on the acrylic, because as you can imagine, this is all curved acrylic, which would make it really difficult for flat sanding discs or even things like flippers. So you can see Alicia here working away. You can see the bubbles coming up, which just adds to the oxygen in the tank, and it looks like the fish are all super friendly with her while she goes around. Just does each section at a time, spiraling around as she goes, making sure that it all looks perfectly clean. And I got to say, they do a fantastic job. And it also adds to the excitement for the kids in the hospital, getting to see someone in there diving with a fish, which is really cool. Now she's finished, got the flippers back in there, coming up out of the ladder. We'll go touch base with Patrick and see what's next on a day's routine.
All right, Patrick, I can't thank you enough for making it possible for us to not only come here and see this incredible system here. We're just 130,000 litres.
130,000 litres.
Not every day you get to see a reef tank, or a fish tank, a marine tank that size, let alone get to see it being cleaned, see it being fed, and of course, see all of that incredible infrastructure. So thank you so much for making it possible, and I really do appreciate all of the design, thought process, technology that AAT have put into it, and of course, Royal Melbourne Children's Hospital for implementing it. So thank you once again.
No worries, it's an absolute pleasure, and I hope people at home and around the world get to appreciate seeing the behind the scenes. Not many people get to do this, so it's always a fantastic opportunity to show people that can appreciate it, and those that are a little bit unaware of the effort that goes into running something like this.
Absolutely. Well done once again, keep up the great work.
All right, guys, there you have it. That is the tour of the Royal Children's Hospital in Melbourne. Incredible 130,000 litre marine system. What an awesome tank to see. And I got to say, getting that behind the scenes tour of some of the filtration, some of the cleaning processes, some of the feeding processes really does highlight how some parts of this hobby are so closely related between our home reef tanks and some of these massive commercial systems, and then other components are worlds apart. Super interesting to see. And again, I want to give a massive shout out to Patrick, to AAT, and of course the Royal Children's Hospital in Melbourne for making it possible for us to go and film that video and then share it with all of you guys at home. So thank you very much. If you do have any questions, comments, feedback, anything like that at all, feel free to pop it in the comment section down below. I do just quickly want to say that I do have a good 4 or 5 minutes of feeding footage to come in a second that I'll play some background tunes to, so you can see all of those fish get really busy on the beautiful food that Patrick took us through and how they prepare it. But before we get to that, I want to give a massive shout out to these names on screen here. These are my channel members. These guys chip in a couple of dollars each and every month to make videos like this one possible for you guys right here on YouTube free of charge. So a massive and humble round of applause to all of these names here. I really do appreciate your support. And if you want to show your support but don't have a couple of dollars a month to spare, fear not, you can do so by hitting that subscribe button in the bottom bottom corner down there. We are this close to 35,000 subscribers, so jump on board. Won't cost you a single cent today, tomorrow, or anytime in the future. Just helps tell that YouTube algorithm that you think this is good content, and it will recommend it to more like-minded reefers. Anyway, that is enough from me. Let's roll the footage of feeding time at the Royal Children's Hospital 130,000 litre marine system. Till next time, guys, stay safe, keep reefing. Cheers, bye. Alright, here we are at the level 1 viewing deck, checking out these massive batfish, and this is where I'm told the food block comes down to, so we should be in a prime position, and it looks like it's just dropping down now. You'll see the frozen block of food there. Alright, let's roll some tunes and enjoy this footage.